Hello, David North, a highly esteemed voice in the US rebellion against global lobbies. It's a great honor to host you on TV5. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
With your permission, I'll move on to my first question. As a opposition figure in US, how do you interpret Trump's actions, coming to power with the promise of ending wars, yet acting as a protector of Israel?
Well, he did not come to power as an opponent of war. I mean, the United States, bourgeois imperialist politicians commonly make all sorts of statements and promises, which no one who is familiar with the realities of American imperialism should take seriously. His main focus, in fact, when he came to power, was initially to focus his militarist agenda against China. However, his rhetorical criticisms of militarism had absolutely no reality and should never have been taken seriously. We certainly did not take it seriously. The agenda of the United States is not set by the promises of one or another politician, but by the global interests of the American ruling class. And whatever president is in office, whatever his rhetoric, the aims are fundamentally the same. And that has certainly been demonstrated with staggering clarity in the war which has been waged against Iran, a fully criminal war, which has resulted in devastating loss of life, and which only 24 hours ago, the American president was using language which previously had been only associated with figures like Adolf Hitler. And I would just like to say at this point that there is a 2-week pause. No one should be complacent. This war can resume, and the next 2 weeks should be used by workers all over the world to build up their opposition to American imperialism and its allies, who are fully responsible for the death and destruction. And one last point. Now we all can see that there are no restraints, that when Trump said he was prepared to destroy Iran as a civilization, he meant it. And what was said yesterday should not be forgotten today. A 2-week pause does not mark the beginning of world peace. It's only an interlude. Whether it breaks down within 2 weeks or later on, the aim of the United States is to establish once again colonialist control over Iran and, in fact, over all of the Middle East.
Thank you. My second question is, Trump, by taking Vance, who compared him to Hitler, alongside him, is displaying a complete anti-European and anti-NATO stance. Is this process weakening the US or Europe?
Well, I have to say that European and American imperialism are different factions of the same global aims. All these imperialist powers, of course, they have conflicts among themselves, but I think the oppressed throughout the world, workers and people who live in the former colonial countries, should understand that neither faction is their friend, is their ally. All are, in fact, criminal regimes, and the central question is the organization of the working class and the oppressed throughout the world in a common struggle against global imperialism. The United States is only the most criminal and most powerful of the imperialist gangsters, if I can speak bluntly.
Okay. Finally, I'm not sure about you here or not before. Erbakan, who served as prime minister about 30 years ago, represent the pinnacle of anti-imperialist in Turkey. He was the originator of the developing aid countries and the idea of an Islamic common currency. He made moves against Washington's militaristic stance against Ankara. In 1995, he organized the Million Man March with hundreds and thousands of participants under the Nation of Islam in your country, you know. The final question is this. How do you think the rise of Muslim societies against global colonialism will unfold?
Well, I know comparatively little about the career of Mr. Erbakan, except to say, to be completely frank with you, our politics is not based on religion or ethnicity, but on a class. That is, we evaluate world politics from the standpoint of the working class, which is a global class. And the struggle against imperialism can only be waged successfully to the extent that it unifies the working class of all countries, all ethnicities, all religions in a common class struggle. And I must say, if we look at the most recent events and we look at what happened in Gaza and the fate of the Palestinians, despite the many decades of rhetoric of, for example, Arab unity or Muslim unity, they were abandoned and no one came to their defense. So I think that if there is going to be an effective struggle against imperialism and the liberation of the peoples of the former colonial countries from oppression, and particularly today, the attempts of the imperialist powers to reestablish colonialist control, this can only be done through an alliance of the working class on an international scale. So my politics, the politics of the Socialist Equality Party, the International Committee of the Fourth International, and Advance in the World Socialist website is to build precisely a movement which is based on this global class strategy, the unification of the working class. And so the future of humanity depends upon that, and I hope that that will be a central lesson drawn from the experiences, particularly of the last 2 weeks. I just want to speak very directly to your audience. Please understand how dangerous the situation is. We all have seen now what the imperialist powers are prepared to do. They speak of annihilation of entire civilizations. They speak of genocide on a scale that even surpassed what Hitler attempted. So that is the reality that we all must come to grips with.
Okay. I'm very grateful that you accepted our request. You added flavor to our channel. Best regards and hope to see you again in Istanbul.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Have a nice day.